In so many companies, the HR department is just seen as this necessary cost center, right? It's the place for paperwork, for policies. But what if it could be the most powerful engine for growth you have? Today, we're going to dig into that critical shift from HR as an administrative burden to a true strategic powerhouse. So let's just start with a really big question, one that every leader should be asking themselves. Is your HR department an anchor weighing the whole business down with outdated processes? Or is it an engine actually powering your company forward? Honestly, the answer to that question can mean the difference between stagnation and real success. Okay, let's break down these two mindsets. On one side, you've got the anchor. This kind of HR is reactive, it's always waiting for problems to happen, it's totally focused on paperwork, operates in its own little silo, and is pretty much just seen as a cost. But on the other side, you have the engine. This is proactive HR. It's a true partner that's integrated with every single part of the business, using data to drive decisions and create tangible value. And that's the transformation we're talking about. So, for our first part, let's explore the why. Why is this shift from just being an admin role to a strategic partner? Why is it not just a nice to have, but an absolute necessity for survival and growth in today's world? I love this analogy because it just gets to the heart of the matter. Your workforce is your modern skyscraper. And to build it and manage it the right way, you absolutely need a modern toolkit. Trying to compete using old methods, well, that's like trying to build that skyscraper with a hammer and a handsaw. It's just not going to work. And that's a perfect lead-in to part two, building your modern HR toolkit. Now, this isn't about just grabbing a random collection of templates. We're talking about an integrated system of enhanced tools, all designed to work together to build that strategic engine we've been talking about. A truly strategic HR toolkit, it all starts by looking to the future. So instead of just counting the employees you have right now, enhanced workforce planning uses business data to predict the exact talent you're going to need next year. And in the same way, a training needs assessment doesn't just fix today's skill gaps, it builds the capabilities your team will need to win tomorrow. Next up, the toolkit is all about perfecting that entire employee journey. It starts with structured onboarding, with 30, 60, and 90-day check-ins to really set people up for success. Performance reviews get a total makeover, transforming from these backward-looking report cards into forward-looking roadmaps for growth. And engagement surveys give you a real-time pulse on morale, letting you spot potential issues before they ever escalate. Of course, modern HR has to be a master of managing complexity and risk. We're talking about country-specific compliance checklists that aren't just about ticking boxes. They actually use risk scoring to prioritize the most critical legal stuff. A risk assessment matrix helps you proactively spot potential issues, like, say, burnout in a key team, and deal with them before they become crises. And a solid vendor framework that makes sure every single external partner, from payroll to benefits, meets your company's high standards. And finally, it is all about the data. A modern HR dashboard gives you real-time insights, even using predictive analytics to forecast things like turnover risk. A perfect example of this in action is the Mobility Assignment Calculator. Instead of just guessing the massive cost of relocating an employee, you get a precise, data-driven estimate. And a tool like this brings us perfectly to our real-world case study. All right, let's do our deep dive, global mobility. Seriously, the process of moving employees around the world is the perfect case study. It's complex, it's incredibly high stakes, and you need almost every single tool in our modern HR toolkit to make it successful. So, what is global mobility management? Exactly. Well, it's the whole shebang, the entire end-to-end process, from the moment you decide to send someone abroad all the way to bringing them back home. It's about meeting a big strategic need, like opening a new market, all while juggling compliance, costs, and of course, the employee's well-being. The modern approach takes this super complex process and breaks it down into 5 really clear stages. You start with strategy, defining a clear policy. Then comes approval, where you use tools like that cost calculator to make sure it's even viable. Then you've got preparation, which handles all the critical logistics like visas and taxes. During the assignment, the focus shifts to support for the employee. And finally, repatriation ensures a smooth transition home and, this is crucial, it captures all the key learnings for the company. Okay, with so many moving parts, things can get messy fast. That is where something like a Rossi matrix is an absolute lifesaver. It assigns 4 simple roles: responsible for doing the work,
accountable for its ultimate success, that's the one head on the line, consulted for input, and informed just to be kept in the loop. So in this example, you can see that while HR is responsible for getting the assignment letter ready, they are also accountable for it. A simple chart like this just eliminates confusion and makes sure everyone knows their exact role. It prevents total chaos.
All right, so you've seen the what and the why, and that brings us to our final section, the how. We're going to lay out a practical roadmap that you can actually adapt for your own organization's HR transformation.
Look, a transformation this big isn't something you just wing. It follows a structured 5-phase plan. You start with discovery to assess what you really need. Then you design and configure the new systems. In phase 3, you develop and test everything like crazy. Phase 4 is deployment. That's when you go live and train your team. But, and this is so important, it doesn't end there. Phase 5, optimization, makes sure you're always improving and getting the most possible value out of the new system. But here is the absolute key. This roadmap is not one size fits all. A small organization, you should focus on quick wins with an all-in-one system. A mid-market company is going to need a more formal project team. And for a big enterprise, this becomes a multi-year strategic program. The transformations that actually succeed are the ones tailored to the company's unique reality. So if you remember just one thing from all this, please let it be this. Modernizing HR isn't really about the new software, it's about a new mindset. The tools? They're just enablers for a proactive, strategic, and data-driven approach to managing your most valuable asset, your people. We've covered the why, the what, and the how. You have the map to transform your HR function from an anchor to an engine. So the only question left is, what's the very first step you're going to take on that journey?